My name is Kristen. I live in, as Sarah said, in Hingham, Massachusetts. And 8, 9-ish years ago, just completely out of the blue, I came up with the idea to open an indoor cycling studio. My background before that is I went to college and majored in psychology, and I was interested in the research side of that. So I went into market research. I worked at two market research companies where we were conducting, um, data studies in the real world. My third job after that, so third job out of college, was at a marketing agency called Digitas, and that is where I was at the analytic strategy and analytics group. So I was really even in broader scale working on, um, marketing research and marketing projects and marketing implementation. I went to business school while I was there. I went to Babson, which specializes in entrepreneurship, and I've always just loved it. The combination of business school and that job at Digitas, I was there for 7 years. It really taught me to become a professional. I mean, there are just rock stars at this company, and it really honed all kinds of skills and also gave me confidence. So I found myself 2 kids later. We at this point had moved to the suburbs, and I've always enjoyed sports. I've been just athletic my entire life. And I was taking classes at Bar Method in Hingham. It's just a local bar studio. And I was really into it. And I just literally, there was an aha moment. I was like climbing the stairs to get into their space. And here you work so hard at strengthening your muscles. And I didn't have any cardio. I was like huffing and puffing at the top of the stairs. So I just had this aha moment that there was need in our small town, 22,000, for cardio workout, like high intensity cardio that was going to be really fun. And music inspired and fun. At the same time, I had been invited to attend a fundraiser at a spin studio. This was actually in Connecticut, not even nearby. And I was totally intrigued by it. I came up with this idea. I kept it private for like a month and just started visiting some indoor cycling studios, which were already in existence in Boston. And I was like, I can do this. I want to do this. So next step was to talk to my husband, and he instantly said yes, which was like a sheer miracle. He liked the idea. He thought it was a good one, and he would, be supportive of it. And that kind of kicked everything off. Sarah described, we're in the most unassuming place. It's an office building. We're up on the second floor. And we transformed an office building into a spin studio. It's not even that big. That space is 1,200 square feet. So it's pretty small. And at our peak, we had 34 bikes in there. So what is our product? We run indoor cycling classes. It's a 50-minute high intensity music inspired. We ride to the beat of the music, so our body matches the rhythm of any given song. It is an interval-based ride, and it's designed to be equal parts fun and equal parts challenging. So it all worked out, through the leasing and everything. And I opened up, just in terms of some decisions that I made early in the game that proved to be very, very good. I began with a method. So our method is called Rhythm Ride. And before we opened, rather than the old school gym model, just kind of throwing an instructor in a room and saying, go for it, I put a stake in the ground that we were going to conduct our classes in a certain way. And we had terminology, nomenclature, we had structure, we had all of these components of our ride that were kind of non-negotiable within our instructors. We had a framework, you had to stay within the framework. And that ended up being very, very good because it allowed us to be a brand. I love branding, so did all the branding of the logo and the space and the design and everything. But the best decision of all was that we all did Rhythm Ride. And what we started with, I look back at what it was when we started and where it is now, and it's evolved tremendously. I laugh when I look back at what it was originally, but we had a starting point, and together as a group, we evolved it and created kind of where we are today.
Kristen, how much money did it take you to jump into this venture?
How much money?
Yeah.
$125,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Of which I borrowed like 100 from my parents. And they later on said we were not expecting to get that back. We thought it was gone forever. And I paid it back within a year. So I was really proud of that. The business, I should say that this is the best part. The business just took off right from the start. We really just brought to our community an experience and a product, a service that very much connected with what they wanted at the time. There weren't, now there's more fitness in our area, but at the time there wasn't even that much fitness. Peloton didn't exist then. You all know Peloton. So we were, the only thing, and we were crushing it, absolutely crushing it for the first 4 years. Peloton kind of came in year 5, and it plateaued a little bit. And that's around year 4 is when I decided to open the second studio. And that is 25 minutes away from the first studio. And went through that whole process. Now, this one was a lot more expensive. It was all our money. We were, very, very invested in this. And as Sarah described, opened our doors. And I'm staffing up at this point, trying to build teams and structure and all these things. And literally 3 weeks after we opened, COVID hit. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's about as crushing as it gets. Let's talk about the positive, because I want this to be a good story. We were so invested, not just in the amount for the build out, but also we had a personal guarantee on the first half of the lease that, they could come for that. They could come sue us for that. We couldn't not push forward. Like, it just wasn't, we had so much at stake. I mean, you always can close it down, but we had to push forward. And I'm actually very grateful. The first location I could have closed by the snap of my fingers. I didn't have any obligations, but that second one we did. And I feel blessed that I was kind of forced to find a way to make it work, because it's only when you're in that much of a challenging situation that you get really, really creative. We did things from renting out our bikes. So at that point, I think I had 78 bikes across 2 studios. And my son and I are driving them all across the South Shore and all around Boston. I'm literally doing everything myself. It is all on my shoulders. Welcome to being an entrepreneur. You clean the toilets and you drive bikes around. You literally do everything. And I don't know, it was kind of a day by day at that point. We made videos to have remote. As soon as we hung plexiglass, so then there were laws in Massachusetts that you could have, your bikes had to be X feet apart. You could have plexiglass. I mean, we pushed everything to the max. I maxed out every rule that I possibly could. And it was just a day by day at that point. And slowly but surely things eased up. We went outside for a while. We rode outdoors. We had some, and we just got creative. And it really just taught, once I kind of hit that point of, I no longer was financially struggling with the new studio, it just really makes you ask yourself that question. Do I like this? Like, why am I doing this? Do I like it? And do I want to continue? And when you pause and get really quiet with yourself and go deep, it's, the answer was a resounding yes. I was watching studios I follow studios across the United States. They're closing down. They're shutting some locations, not others. I mean, it was a really, really tough environment. We are a room full of people breathing heavy and exercising. So, indoor cycling was hit hardest of any form of fitness. The statistics are like really, really devastating, and I don't know what to say. That's when the love for what you're doing takes over, and just day by day, you find a way to make it work. Now, luckily, I'm also creating endorphins every single day when I ride. It's a feel good experience. It's a social experience. You're surrounded by people. Even though we had fewer people coming, the people that wanted to be there really wanted to be there. So that's kind of what's gotten me through. So it's my business has been just very interesting, from absolutely booming, crushing it, to literally hitting rock bottom and then kind of climbing back up again. And we are nowhere near where we are, and I don't ever expect to be there anymore. I think the trends in fitness have changed, but we're totally sustainable at this point, and I'm gonna go a few more years. And it's all consuming, Bob. Like, you were talking about this as being an outlet for, finding your purpose, finding not just a use of your time, but your passion, your purpose, all those things. And when you have found that, you're willing to put in any amount of time to always be a learner, someone that always wants to learn more, improve their skills, grow. And a second thing is relationships, is creating and foraging relationships is so critical in business. And you can create an experience in any business you have. Ours is very experience oriented. And I have literally, like, on paper, put from the second they come to either the homepage of our website, that path, like, what does that entire experience look like? From what is the desk team supposed to say when when a customer walks in the studio? What is the instructor supposed to say? What's it going to look like? What's it going to smell like? What's it going to, like, all these different uh, parts of the journey, from the moment you hear about us to the moment that you have your first class, in our case, class with us, to even the follow up. It's I love market, and I view that as part of the marketing process, is creating that experience, doing it very intentionally.